Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Puri Brajakacharya Ashtotar Shata Shri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mayi Ki Jai Jamuna Mayi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, and welcome everyone for Srimad Bhagavatam with His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami. It is Wednesday, December 25th, 2024 in New York. And today we're picking up with Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 8, Text 55, Narada giving further instructions to Dhruva Maharaj on how to prosecute the process of yoga in the forest. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Salilai Shuchibhir Mailyair Vanyair Mula Paladibihi Shastam Kurang Shukaishcharchit Tulasya Priyaya Prabhum. One should worship the Lord by offering pure water, pure flower garlands, fruits, flowers, and vegetables which are available in the forest, or by collecting newly grown grasses, small buds of flowers, or even the skins of trees, and if possible, by offering tulsi leaves, which are very dear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is specifically mentioned herein that tulsi leaves are very dear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and devotees should take particular care to have tulsi leaves in every temple and center of worship. In the Western countries, while engaged in propagating the Krishna consciousness movement, we were brought great unhappiness because we could not find tulsi leaves. Therefore, we are very much obliged to our disciple Srimati Govinda Dasi, because she has taken much care to grow tulsi plants from seeds, and she has been successful by the grace of Krishna. Now, tulsi plants are growing in almost every center of our movement. Tulsi leaves are very important in the method of worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this verse, the word salilai means by the water. Of course, Dhruva Maharaj was worshipping on the bank of the Yamuna. The Yamuna and the Ganges are sacred, and sometimes devotees in India insist that the deity must be worshipped with water of the Ganges or Yamuna. But here we understand Desha Kala to mean according to time and country. In the Western countries, there is no river Yamuna or Ganges. Water from such sacred rivers is not available. Does this mean that the Archa worship should for that reason be stopped? No. Salilai refers to any water, whatever is available, but it must be very clear and collected purely. That water can be used. The other paraphernalia, such as flower garlands, fruits, and vegetables, should be collected according to the country and according to their availability. Tulsi leaves are very important for satisfying the Lord, so as far as possible, an arrangement should be made for growing tulsi leaves. Dhruva Maharaj was advised to worship the Lord with the fruits and flowers available in the forest. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna frankly says that he accepts vegetables, fruits, flowers, etc. One should not offer Lord Vasudeva anything other than what is prescribed herein by the great authority Narada Muni. One cannot offer to the deity according to one's whims. Since these fruits and vegetables are available anywhere in the universe, we should observe this small point very attentively. Om Jnanatimirantasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada adds in his translation to this verse, when describing Tulsi, if possible, by offering Tulsi leaves. And Narada Muni in this verse is making it possible for Dhruva Maharaj to worship the Lord. He's not making it impossible. He's saying you use what's nearby, locally available things. And in the purport, Prabhupada is saying that in Western countries, the Ganga is not available, Yamuna is not available, but some fresh, pure water should be offered. And that can be offered, as he says, according to the country and according to their availability. So the whole point of a spiritual master giving the disciple instructions is to make it possible for him to worship the Lord, not to make it impossible for him. So these parameters are what Narada is working with in the case of Dhruva Maharaj in the forest. Offer nice things. There's a list of things: newly grown grasses, small buds of flowers. These things are naturally attractive, and Krishna accepts things. Prabhupada says in the purport, he frankly says that he accepts these things from the categories that he lists there, patram pushpam palam toyam. So in the verse here, Narada is giving these suggestions to Narada Muni. Even the skins of trees is one thing he says here. And Prabhupada in the word for word says, by the skin of trees such as the bhurja. So I looked up bhurja, and the English word birch is there. And come to find out there's a brand of the birch tree that grows in the Himalayas and parts of India. It's a birch tree. Birch tree grew near where I grew up, and they have very thin but very attractive skins, white. Sometimes there's also golden birch. There's white birch, golden birch. You can make cloth from these things. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentions this very point. He says, these items should be available in the forest. Cloth can be made from birch bark. So whatever is available, you make the best of what you have. And also Prabhupada is clearly pleased in this purport with the service of his disciple Govinda Dasi. He rarely mentions disciples' names in his Bhaktivedanta purport, but here's an instance where he does. Also, this purport has an example of one of my favorite one-word sentences of Srila Prabhupada. Does this mean that the Archa worship should for that reason be stopped? No. So, Hare Krishna. Maharaj, I would love to hear you if you care to comment on these points.
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya today. Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Shaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaudavani Pracharine. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtachate Shatana. Just to amplify something you've said, that Srila Prabhupada has particularly expressed his gratitude to Srimati Govindadasi for successfully growing Tulsi. So, and as you said, Prabhupada rarely mentions disciples in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, but here he does. So her place in history is already assured by having pleased Prabhupada in this way. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Our next verse, are there any other comments or questions on this verse before we move on? All right, then Vijay Krishna Prabhu, I see that you're with us. Are you able to read our next text, which is number 56?
Yes, Ekendra Prabhu, can you hear me?
Yes, your connection is very good.
Thank you very much, you're most kind. So text 56. Labdva dravya mayi marcham kshitiyam vadishu varchayet abritatma muni shanto yatavan mitavanya book. Translation. It is possible to worship a form of the Lord made of physical elements such as earth, water, pulp, wood, and metal. In the forest, one can make a form with no more than earth and water and worship him according to the above principles. A devotee who has full control over his self should be very sober and peaceful, and must be satisfied simply with eating whatever fruits and vegetables are available in the forest. Purport. It is essential for a devotee to worship the form of the Lord and not only meditate upon the form of the Lord within his mind with the chanting of the mantra given by the spiritual master. The worship of the form must be present. The impersonalist takes unnecessary trouble to meditate upon or worship something impersonal, and the path is very precarious. We are not advised to follow the impersonalist way of meditating on or worship the Lord. Dhruva Maharaj was advised to worship a form made of earth and water because in the jungle, if it is not possible to have a form made of metal, wood, or stone, the best process is to take earth mixed with water and make a form of the Lord and worship him. The devotee should not be anxious about cooking food. Whatever is available in the forest or in the city among the fruit and vegetable groups should be offered to the deity, and the devotee should be satisfied eating that. He should not be anxious to have very palatable dishes. Of course, wherever it is possible, one should offer the deities the best foodstuffs, prepared within the category of fruits and vegetables, cooked or uncooked. The important factor is that the devotee should be regulated, meet a book. That is one of the good qualifications of a devotee. He should not hanker to satisfy the tongue with a particular kind of foodstuff. He should be satisfied to eat whatever prasad is available by the grace of the Lord.
Thank you, Prabhu. Some thoughts from your side?
Yes, a very quick one. The quote from the purport is, quote, "The important factor is that the devotee should be regulated, meet a book." And I do have a question based on this quote. Why is it that to be regulated favors our spiritual advancement? That is my question.
Why we should be regulated to make spiritual advancement. Because otherwise the senses become, what's the word? Well, uncontrolled, ascendant, they become powerful. If they're not regulated, the senses become powerful, and then we become the servants of the senses. Another thing is just for routine activities, if we're unregulated, then it's hard to prosecute spiritual activities. Some nights we're up till midnight, some nights we're, something else. Sometimes we're eating huge, sometimes we're starving. Then our life becomes chaotic. It's swinging this way and that way. And then executing devotional activities becomes difficult. But if every day we're rising early, every day we take our bath, every day, then yogo bhavati dukkha, then we get free from miseries. Our life becomes calm and peaceful as far as possible. We don't have to, the body doesn't have to think what today, automatically, even from the medical point of view, if we're regulated in our eating and sleeping and other activities, then things go on nicely. So the body becomes regulated, the mind becomes regulated. Then one can practice spiritual realization nicely. So these things are mentioned always in the Bhagavad Gita. It's mentioned everywhere. It's mentioned. Yeah. If the tongue is not regulated, then the genitals will not be regulated. Then everything's finished. Okay.
Yes, Maharaj, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
The statement for in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Jivar Lala Se Jay Iti Utiptai Shishnodara Parayan Krishna Naibai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, one who's subservient to the tongue and goes here and there, devoted to the genitals and the belly, cannot attain Krishna. It's an instruction to Raghunath Das Goswami. Vairagi ha kore jivar alasa armartayai ar hoy rasirvash. If a renunciant is eager for his tongue to taste different foods, his spiritual life will be lost and will be subservient to the tastes of his tongue. So that point is there. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Vairagi should be satisfied just always to chant Hare Krishna, Nam Sankirtan, and take some fruits and vegetables to fill the belly and not be going here and there. Where is there something really good? Where is there something really good? Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Is that, could you give us the
Right.
reference?
Ancha 6 to let's see. 226, 227. Yeah, 226, 227.
Thank you. And Murari Gupta Prabhu says, Hare Krishna Maharaj, do you remember the introduction of Tulsi for Bhoga offerings and what devotees would do before Tulsi was present in all the temples?
Before, I think we wouldn't do anything. It was there in nectar devotion, but there was no Tulsi, and so that was that. There was no Tulsi. We didn't do something instead of Tulsi. Just right, no Tulsi. That was one of those things we didn't have. And, we sort of didn't know what we were missing, so we just didn't do anything. Then Tulsi was introduced.
Murari Gupta Prabhu says, thank you, Maharaj. And Praveen Krishna Prabhu says, he's, okay. First of all, statement. Krishna has come to the West to taste the Western foods, so he should be offered pizza, bread, pasta instead of rice, dal, and sabjis which are available. How valid is this?
My statement would be that Krishna comes to the West in spite of the food.
All right. Hare Krishna. Any other comments or questions on this before we move on?
Prabhupada came to the West. He didn't say, where's the pizza? Where's the... He came in spite of the food.
Right. Ross Prabhu, would you kindly read our next text, which is 57?
Vichavatara chariter chintanija mayaya karisyati uttamaslokas tadayad vidyangamam. Translation. My dear Dhruva, besides worshipping the deity and chanting the mantra 3 times a day, you should meditate upon the transcendental activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his different incarnations, as exhibited by his supreme will and personal potencies. Purport. Devotional service comprises 9 prescribed practices: hearing, chanting, remembering, worshipping, serving, offering everything to the deity, etc. Here Dhruva Maharaj is advised not only to meditate on the form of the Lord, but to think of his transcendental pastimes in his different incarnations. Mayavadi philosophers take the incarnation of the Lord to be in the same category as the ordinary living entity. This is a great mistake. The incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not forced to act by the material laws of nature. The word sacha is used here to indicate that he appears out of his supreme will. The conditioned soul is forced to accept a particular type of body according to his karma, given by the laws of material nature under the direction of the Supreme Lord. But when the Lord appears, he is not forced by the dictation of material nature. He appears as he likes by his own internal potency. That is the difference. The conditioned soul accepts a particular type of body, such as the body of a hog, by his work and by the superior authority of material nature. But when Lord Krishna appears in the incarnation of a boar, he is not the same kind of hog as an ordinary animal. Krishna appears as Braha Avatara in an expansive feature which cannot be compared to an ordinary hog's. His appearance and disappearance are inconceivable to us. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly said that he appears by his own internal potency for the protection of the devotees and the annihilation of the non-devotees. A devotee should always consider that Krishna does not appear as an ordinary human being or ordinary beast. His appearance as Varaha Murti, or a horse or tortoise, is an exhibition of his internal potency. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitabi. One should not mistake the appearance of the Lord as a human being or a beast to be the same as the birth of an ordinary conditioned soul, who is forced to appear by the laws of nature, whether as an animal, as a human being, or as a demigod. This kind of thinking is offensive. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has condemned the Mayavadis as offensive to the Supreme Personality of Godhead because of their thinking that the Lord and the conditioned living entities are one and the same. Narada advises Dhruva to meditate on the pastimes of the Lord, which is as good as the meditation of concentrating one's mind on the form of the Lord. As meditation on any form of the Lord is valuable, so is chanting of different names of the Lord, such as Hari, Govinda, Narayan. But in this age, we are especially advised to chant the Hare Krishna mantra, as enunciated in the Shastra: Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you. Any thoughts come to mind to share?
No, but I have a question. I was wondering how widespread the pastimes of the Lord were known in this time. Did they have Srimad Bhagavatam, and what's the common ground for someone like Dhruva Maharaj?
Well, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has a comment. He says at the time of Narada speaking, not many avatars had appeared. So that's why he speaks in the future tense. But still some had appeared. Yes. that answer your question?
So people would have known about the past few incarnations.
They must have known something, because he says not many had appeared, so some, not many. Varahadev had appeared. He appears at them early. So these things are there. But yeah, there are still more.
Maharaj, do you have anything else you'd like to say?
Just that Prabhupada at the end stresses the chanting of the holy name. The meditation is there, that's all right. And it's recommended. Prabhupada mentions that one should meditate on the form of the Lord. But he especially focuses on chanting. Sometimes Prabhupada said chanting is thinking. So chanting the holy name of the Lord will result naturally in thinking of the Lord's pastimes, qualities, everything. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I'll read our next verse, 58. Paricharya Bhagavato Yavatya Purva Sevitaha Ta Mantra Hidaye Naiva Prayunjan Mantra Murtaye. One should follow in the footsteps of previous devotees regarding how to worship the Supreme Lord with the prescribed paraphernalia. Or one should offer worship within the heart by reciting the mantra to the personality of Godhead, who is none different from the mantra. It is recommended here that even if one cannot arrange to worship the forms of the Lord with all recommended paraphernalia, one can simply think about the form of the Lord and mentally offer everything recommended in the Shastras, including flowers, chandan pulp, conch shell, umbrella, fan, and chamara. One can meditate upon offering and chant the 12-syllable mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Since the mantra and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are non-different, one can worship the form of the Lord with the mantra in the absence of physical paraphernalia. The story of the Brahmana who worshipped the Lord within his mind, as related in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, or the Nectar of Devotion, should be consulted in this connection. If paraphernalia is not present physically, one can think of the items and offer them to the deity by chanting the mantra. Such are the liberal and potent facilities in the process of devotional service. I appreciate that. Liberal and potent facilities. I don't have that pastime indexed in my mind or on my computer anywhere of the Brahmana who's making mental offerings to the Lord, nor do I know it particularly by heart.
Well, it's there that there was a Brahmin and he heard that he was poor also, I think. He heard that one could, attended some lecture or something, he heard one could offer service to the Lord in the mind. So he was doing that, and very grandly he would worship the Lord with silver paraphernalia and so on, all very opulent, make opulent offerings to the Lord, everything within the mind, systematically. And one time he wanted to offer kheer, sweet rice, to the Lord, but he was concerned that the sweet rice might be too hot to offer. And Prabhupada comments, the cooler the sweet rice, the better the taste. So he wanted to offer properly. So he put his finger in the sweet rice to see whether it was cool enough, but it wasn't, and so he burned his finger. And then, having burned his finger, he came out of his meditation. And then when he looked at his finger, he saw that it was burned, which was unexpected because he was only offering in his mind, but now his finger was burned. So he was astonished. Then in Vaikuntha planets, Lord Narayan was smiling. So Lakshmi Devi asked, what is it? Then the Lord told the story of the Brahmin and the offering. And then he decided to send a flower airplane to bring the Brahmin to Vaikuntha. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
I'm also reminded the devotees would have an opportunity for this kind of Manasa Puja. Typically, when they were put into jail in America, devotees would be get in trouble with the police for doing Sankirtan, and they would be put in jail. Other countries also. Of course, in Russia, it was a more serious business, but even in the Western countries, the devotees would have to go overnight to jail or 2 days or something. And then they would have a great time offering so many wonderful things to the deity, having huge kirtan and so on. So they took advantage of the jail time for pastimes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Something occurred to me from a previous purport that I forgot to mention in a more timely way, but this is from the purport to text 56. It says, of course, wherever it is possible, one should offer the deities the best foodstuffs prepared within the category of fruits and vegetables, cooked or uncooked. And I'm reminded of Yamuna Devi, who during her later years had very poor health. And I was speaking to a friend about this the other day, that he had funded her travel to and participation in a health clinic that was evidently doing her tremendous amounts of good, where she was eating essentially a raw food diet. So uncooked vegetables became part of her life. And she was so grateful for that she decided she was going to write, in addition to her Lord Krishna's cuisine cookbook and other cookbooks, a raw food cookbook by Yamuna Devi. But unfortunately, that never manifested. Hare Krishna.
An uncooked book. Of course, elsewhere in Krishna book, Prabhupada mentions cooked and raw food as being food cooked in ghee and food cooked in water. In that portion, Prabhupada said raw food doesn't mean not cooked, but cooked in water. And cooked food means kachoris and things cooked in ghee. So both things may be there. Also in this verse, one should offer by following Purva Sevita, following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. So not whimsically, doing it this way, doing it that way, offering so many things that are not the standard. Of course, according to the local place, one may offer this or that which is locally available or locally appreciated. But the basic offerings done for the deity should be as prescribed by the previous acharyas, not well, I think Krishna would like this, I think Krishna would like that. And then I think Krishna would like to dress this way, I think Krishna would like, and then we do something mentally concocted. Well, but didn't all appreciate that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I was looking at Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's take on the verse and his commentary. And he makes a point of mentioning, I'll read the verse as translated by Banu Maharaj for this 58. He says, one can offer all the Lord's services as done by previous devotees to the Lord, indicated in the mantra, just by using the Mula mantra. And Prabhupada, I believe, in this purport mentions that this what he means by Mula mantra here is Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So are we to understand that that's the particular mantra that we should use if we're in a condition of having to do manasa seva for whatever reason?
I'm not the Manasa Seva expert. In general, Prabhupada gave us for all purposes Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
And in his commentary, he says, one should offer the services as performed by the previous devotees, Purva Sevita, such as fragrance, sandalwood, betel, umbrella, and chamara, just by chanting the Mula mantra, mantra hridayena, for the deity, mentally producing those items which are not available. This is suitable for a detached person, since those items will not be available. One should act to please Prayunjayat, the Lord, who is the object of meditation in the mantra. So it seems here that Srila Vishwanath is saying that this sort of manasa seva is more commonly or more appropriately, more often seen in the lives of those who are not householders with a store of goods at the ready, but maybe they're on the go. Maybe they don't have a stock, or they're not able to cook, or whatever. But those items just won't be available. But still, the service must go on. Hare Krishna. I was going to ask. Oh, there's more. There's something. Ras Prabhu, would you like to pick up that chat quote question?
Yeah. Praveen Prabhu writes, one devotee was sharing that when they were jailed, due to Sankirtan being very dangerous, they started doing manasabhoga making and offering in the prison. The other prisoners were attracted and joined in. The attendant, looking at these weird turn of events, reported to the authorities, they are more dangerous inside than outside. The devotees were released.
Thank you for being Krishna Prabhu. We have a little bit more time left. I wanted to see whether Dana might be available to read our texts 59 and 60. Is that possible? If not, Ras Prabhu, go ahead. Oh, wait, there she is.
I'm not able to read. I'm sorry you won't be able to hear me well.
Okay, no problem. Good to hear from you.
Sorry.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Ras Prabhu, please go ahead if you like with text 59.
Someone just entered the place I'm in, so it might be difficult right now.
Okay. Vijay
Yes.
Krishna Prabhu, are you able to read our text 59 and 60?
Yes, Ekendra Das Prabhu. Texts 59-60. Evam kayena manasa vacha sacha manogatam paricharyamano bhagavan bhaktimat paricharyaya pumsam amai inam samyag pajatam pava vardanaha shreyo dishatyabi matam yad dharmadishu dehinam. Translation. Anyone who thus engages in the devotional service of the Lord, seriously and sincerely with his mind, words, and body, and who is fixed in the activities of the prescribed devotional methods, is blessed by the Lord according to his desire. If a devotee desires material religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, or liberation from the material world, he is awarded these results. Purport. Devotional service is so potent that one who renders devotional service can receive whatever he likes as a benediction from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The conditioned souls are very much attached to the material world, and thus, by performing religious rites, they want the material benefits known as Dharma and Artha.
Thank you for reading, Prabhu. Any thoughts come to mind that you'd like to share here?
Is the thought that came to my mind is related to the last sentence of the purport. Srila Prabhupada is declaring that because of being very much attached to the material world, instead of wanting to get from the Lord pure devotional service, by asking him for him to award us pure devotional service, what is it that we ask? We ask for the material benefits known as Dharma and Art, and that will entangle us in the sense that we will go on suffering we will go on not being able to solve the problems of material life mentioned by Srila Prabhupada as birth, death, old age, and disease. And all because we still go on being attached to the material world. So the solution for the problem, if I may say it, is to become detached from the material world and attach ourselves to the pure devotional service of the Lord. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Maharaj, would you care to share anything here?
This is the pastime of Dhruva Maharaj. He had material desires, but because he engaged in the service of the Lord with all seriousness, he attained the more than he'd had in mind. He attained all perfection. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. As I was hearing the verse, I was thinking how the devotee desires these other things, material religiosity, etc., he is awarded these results. It seems like it's a marker of one's faith, that to have that such faith that, well, what is that? Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy, that everything is contained within and subsidiary to the practice of bhakti. It's like you get $1 million, you've got $10, you've got $100, you've got $1,000, everything. And it also reminds me of a verse spoken by Prithu Maharaj that it addresses this mentality. Tvanmaya yadha jana isha kandato yadanyada shasta ritatmano buddha. And then he talks about how the Lord, he's praying to the Lord to treat him just like a father would treat a son by giving him everything that's necessary for him. And he's not going to ask him for things that everybody else asks for, like goodies. Uh, uh, I couldn't give the verse number right now. I've got too many windows open. But Praveen Krishna Prabhu offers a verse here. Satyang dishatyartitam artito nrinam naivartado yat punar artita yataha svayang vidadhe bhajatam anichchitam ichcha bidhanang nijapada palavam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead fulfills the material desires of a devotee who approaches him with such motives, but he does not bestow benedictions upon the devotee that will cause him to demand more benedictions again. However, the Lord willingly gives the devotee shelter at his own lotus feet, even though such a person does not aspire for it, and that shelter satisfies all his desires. That is the Supreme Personality's special mercy. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. All right. And so I think we can pause here. We have some more time in which to chant. The next purport is longish and our time is shortish. So I was going to see whether Krishna Kanteya Prabhu would be willing to lead our closing kirtan. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bo, Jayam Vishnupad Brahmamsa, Raivad Jagacharya Stotara Sata, Shri Srimad, His Divine Grace, Jayadvaita Swami Ki Jai, Jayam Vishnupad, Brahmamsa, Raivad Jagacharya Stotara Sata, Shri Srimad, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Ki, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrindi Ki Jai, Namacharya Hardasa Kori Ki Jai, ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Prinsek Ho Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Govinda Shamakun, Radha Kun Giridhar Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. Jai Sri Guru Enduranga, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Jayadvaita Swami Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Krishna Kante Prabhu. Jai, Jai, Jai. And thank you everyone for being here. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. His Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai,
Namaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai.
Jai,
Gaur Pramanande.
Hari Bol.
Krishna. Das Maharaj Ki Jai.
Thank you. Krishna Kante. Hari Hari.
Hare Bol.